Welcome to Summer at the Massoni Art Gallery. I reached out to the SPY so that I could come here and talk to you all about what we're doing in the gallery right now, because I have to say this show is one that I personally am very, very excited about. As many of your audience knows, but my clients do too, I left the High Street Gallery, which was the one on the second floor over the bakery, and moved to the Cross Street Gallery permanently. So this is now the location that MassoniArts will be operating out of. It was very difficult to leave a place that I was instrumental in developing with Patrick Jones and Kathleen, and had been my home for 30 plus years. But we finally got to the point where the gallery wasn't handicapped accessible, and as we were doing shows that attracted more and more people coming from out of state, you know, to have someone arrive after a long distance and then not be able to see the show because they couldn't climb the steps just became something that, you know, just felt untenable when we in fact had a place that was on the first floor and that Chris Havemeyer did such a beautiful job in making handicapped accessible through our rear door. So the time had come, it was right, and I have shed all my tears. I'm finally over it, getting very comfortable with this gallery. And this show was my first one that I felt like the magic that had been at High Street has moved over to Cross Street. We usually do, well, we always do a summer show, and during the summer show is the time we invite the artists that have not been on the wall during the year to send in new work. It usually is not focused on one person, but on, you know, all of them, if you will. And I try hard not to necessarily have a theme, because I don't like to see artists try and have to squeeze themselves into somebody else's theme. But the work arrived, and we started pulling together the exhibit. And there was no question, these are artists that have always been concerned about environmental issues, about our relationship to nature, about climate change, and it was present in virtually every piece that we have in this show. I have worked with Grace Mitchell, who's one of the artists that we're featuring. And Grace, for years, has been involved in environmental issues, and she's, you know, she was out there with Pete Seeger in the old days in the Hudson River, you know, saving the river. She is a Hudson River artist, if you will, and she has very much felt that it is the role of the artist to bear witness. We are at a time now where it's rather overwhelming, the advances that we've made, the things that have been done to deal with some of our bay, the rivers, the floods, the fires, all of it. What is the artist to do? What's going to be the way they approach this? And Grace really had a lovely comment in that she said that she felt this idea of bearing witness is important. It's important from the standpoint that you observe, obviously, but you actually recognize that you need to adapt to what is happening around you. At least, forgive me, those of us that hope it's all over in 4 years. However, Grace is not political, if you will, and she feels that in a time like this, it's important that we celebrate the beauty that is left, that is around us, and we call one's attention to it. We celebrate. And so in this particular show, people who know Grace's work know that she has done some very dark pieces during fires, during the floods and other things. But this particular work is about the beauty. But then every piece, the piece that's behind me, Heidi Fowler, Heidi, for over 10 years, has used junk mail as her medium, if you will. She feels that the use of the recycled products, well, number one, is something that she can, you know, it's a material, it's like any other material, and she can use it, but it draws attention to this idea of recycling, of reusing. And she's used in the piece behind me security envelopes. They are, as she said, they are they refer to a sense of trust and security in the term itself. But this piece is one that has been influenced by her personal meditations on the 23rd Psalm. And so this one is called Green Pastures. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. The piece that's around the other side is called Through the Valley Still. And it's a reminder that we may be in the valley still, but there is the opportunity to come out of it. And I find them both beautiful. I love the idea of thinking that particular psalm not as the dirge or sorrow-filled place that it is, but actually as I think it was intended, which is to remind us that there is hope. There is more. We will move through the valley. We will be fine. So looking at her pieces, they're just magnificent. Then the marvelous artists that so many people remember through the clouds, Catherine Cox, whose work is all done in pencil and colored pencil. I've got about 5 different pieces of hers here in the gallery. I'm not going to post online the image I'm going to tell you about because I'm going to say you have to come into the gallery to see it. But we range from the clouds that she's always done and the trees to water. Now she's done water for a while, but this particular drawing at almost 6 feet tall, every time I look at it, I am absolutely struck to the bone with the power of water, the power of nature. Blake Conroy, who's done the work in metal. Again, so many of these artists are layering and layering and layering. He's choosing to do it in metal. And I watched him for years do these hand-cut metal pieces. But I think it was when all this other work came in that I realized, a briar patch, the strength, the incredible, if you will, flexibility, but also absolute strength of the briar patch, of a tree, of whatever it is. So his just took on a new meaning to me. Then we have people like Julia Clift, and Julia Clift has done this beautiful painting down at the end of the gallery. Julia is one of my younger artists. I'm thrilled to have her, and she is from Philadelphia. She had a residency in the Shenandoah Valley, I think about 2 years ago, and she's always drawn on the subject, if you will, the background, if you will, is places that she has been, places that she's lived, places that she loves. And then, as is the job of the 21st century landscape artist, what are you seeing now? What are you bearing witness to? What is important in that view? And in her case, there she is in the beautiful Shenandoah Valley, and she's realizing that the visitors are all enjoying the landscape this way. They've got their phones up to their face, they're taking photos. This piece also recalls the windshield. They drive through, they don't get out of the car. They don't go for a walk. They don't turn off. They've got their earbuds in. They don't turn their music off. They don't connect. And so she's done a piece that just is called Lens. And perhaps it's the lens that we're looking through at this time to explore Mother Nature. I think the piece is beautifully done, and I think it's very, very clever. And then I have someone like Sima Liebman, who I always laugh when I think of plein air. And I think of the beautiful plein air exhibits that they do down in the East End, and we do them here, where the artist is absolutely intent on the moment of the connecting to nature, the connecting to the way the light shifts, the breeze changes, and in a really marvelous plein air piece, that energy, and that is all there. But Sima has chosen to create these landscapes, the winter trees, which are also behind me, out of iPhone pictures that she has taken from her window in the car driving by. Then she takes all of these photos and she puts them into her computer and she works with them. And in doing that, she designs the landscape using pieces of imagery, other imagery, building it up. She then creates, through collaging all of these pieces onto the canvas, a scene. Zemma Maston White, everybody will remember her. Zemma is all about color, 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 color everywhere. But even in her work, there's this energy, the same thing you're going to see in Catherine O'Grady's work. Catherine's oils are based on scenes that she sees out the back door. She goes out the back door, she's in her backyard, she's looking at the road. But they are fierce. They are fierce pieces. They are about explosions of color. They are about, I don't know, there's like a tension that runs through them, and they are beautiful. But I would encourage people not to miss this one. To the extent that, you know, if you go on the website or you even look at the bottom of this article, call me. You know, I live literally a mile away from the gallery, and come during hours if you want to. But if you want to come see this show, just call me. I'll be happy to meet you here in the gallery at your convenience, even if you don't intend to buy anything. I really just want people to see this. I want everyone to have a chance to experience this, because I think this is a time we wake up, we look at, you know, the news, we can't escape all of the, without naming anything, I will say, I'll just call it chaos. I'll just call it, the chaos is kind of overwhelming. And there is nothing peaceful about this show in the sense of, you know, coming in and not having a challenge. These pieces are challenging, and they will challenge you when you look at them. But I would say the overall aspect of them is hope, very much a sense of hopefulness. And I loved Grace's comment about bearing witness. And I think that is probably the most important thing all of us can do, the artist, the citizen, the individual, no matter what. Look, see what's happening, call it what it is, approach it with a sense of honesty. Note it, because if we close our eyes, you know, if we close our eyes, we essentially have abdicated our power.